Well, I guess this isn't too much of an update because I didn't get a whole lot of anything done, but I did play with my wire some. I did start running my main power leads, and I have been pressure testing hoses. So, as y'all know, I'm running this American Autowire Highway 22 kit, trunk mounted, where it's not necessarily meant to be trunk mounted because of the lengths. And they sell a trunk mount kit, but it's like an add-on to this. You can't just buy this with the trunk or as a trunk mount. You have to buy this, then you have to buy their trunk mount wiring, which comes with the longer version of this, which is the ignition switch wire, the longer alternator wire, which I don't need because I'm running my own custom setup, and maybe a couple others, maybe like the headlights or something, I don't even know. Most of the stuff I'll still be able to use because of all the bulkheads and stuff that I'm using and disconnects. I'm trying to figure out a way I can use this wire and extend it without it being just like spliced on ends. I tried, because I bought wiring. I have the brown, the pink, and red to replace this, because I originally was going to recrimp these ends right here and rerun this. But I don't think I have to. Originally, I tried getting to these, and I was just going to make a longer pigtail right here, because all I need is like a foot maybe. So if I could extend this to where it plugged in back here, it'd be fine. I just make, a foot longer version of this out of what I've got. Because I've got ring terminals, got heat shrink to cover the ends, I've got a crimper, and I've got these terminals if I need to. But after taking this apart, the brown one is the accessory wire. It's just there's just a stud on the back side as well. This battery in, same thing for the red wire. This pink wire, however, which is the ignition feed. That, get this back so you can actually see, is spliced in with this. So this is the back side of it. This is just a cover, and there's a big copper bulkhead under there that feeds these fuses. I don't know if you can see there, you can see the copper a little bit there. And this is just a sleeve, this little black is just a sleeve over it. But anyways, it is not only soldered, it is crimped onto this copper bulkhead. So I'll scrap that idea because I'm not going to try to melt the solder away and uncrimp that big copper block without destroying this thing. So, come around to this side. Ran the wire just kind of loosely through here. And this is where it comes out. This is as far as it makes it. Right where the AC or heater control goes. Roughly. It makes it to about the column. See? And of course, the ignition switch is on the right side. But with this pigtail, if I could ever find the actual terminals that go in these, I could have made a longer pigtail for this. But I think it'll reach actually. So if I put this roughly there, face it forward as if it's plugged in, it looks like it'll make it. Add the inch or so too of the splice that it'll have to use. I think I can make these work. And the only kicker will be, in the future I planned on going to a keyless entry setup with a push button start, in which case these might terminate either right into the back of that push button somewhere, or they might end up going to an ignition security box, which I have no clue where I'm going to mount. It might end up being trunk mounted as well, in which case these will again need to feed to that, or at least up to the front of the car. Anyways, so I might end up rerunning those later. I don't know. I'll probably wait to nylon sleeve all of those wires until I get my ignition system and power window set up and all of that stuff. I'll probably wait to sleeve all of that until I get the majority of my wiring figured out. I did discover that there's another bracket that goes with this when I went to install this earlier. So I had to dig around and find where I did with that. And it's this little thing here. Whoop, as I knock it off. Uses this bracket to mount, and I'm guessing this thing just screws to the dash somewhere to give it a ground maybe? I'm not sure. But anyways, I just blasted it in the cabinet real quick and threw a coat of paint on it because it was kind of rusty. But here's what I did with the AC lines. Like I said, I'm pressure testing it. Just got a little bit. This is the coolant line, by the way. I figured that's plenty of pressure in there to test that heater core. And this braided nylon does not want to flex over a barb because it has like no give, no stretch. So that was a fun little pain in the ass. But anyways, so I have those little things to change these to AN fittings. So it's made to where they loop around. One comes to this valve. The other one loops on around. And it's right here. And the AC lines are these. They are Eaton Easy Clips. And they just use this little cage that clips onto the fitting. It has O-rings on the barb that's inside of the hose, and then it has these two. These are like spring clips. They just latch over a tab. They are reusable and quite nice because they have a preset load and the exact clamp size that they're supposed to have, so you don't have to guess at tightening down like these. Anyways, I just have the bottom zip tied for now. Once I get it on the dash and loop everything where it's supposed to be, I'll tie them together where I can. I'm gonna let that sit for a little while, make sure the pressure holds. And here's what I did with my power wires. So obviously the hot, the ground. I'm running these, like I said before, to give me an actual positive ground, an actual feed wire ground, feed wire positive, which is required to go up to my bulkheads. And there those are with boots. And you probably can't see that worth a shit. They just loop around right there. Come out on the side. I don't have a light handy, sorry. Actually I do. Drill. Alright. There we go. Yeah, so anyways, that's it. That is my bulkhead setup. I'm quite pleased. This nylon coating should help give it a little bit of extra protection from any of the metal surfaces that it might encounter, like up against this, where it comes out right here on this lip. I might still put a piece of slit hose on that just to give it a little buffer. But it also lets this wire slide through so nicely. And then I just laid it in here. It's got a little bit of slack. It's got plenty of slack in the trunk area. And there you go. Nylon braided, and then adhesive heat shrink over the end, and a crimped on copper terminal. So my ground, which is just down underneath, right there. Ground positives are ran. Might end up having to be relocated later if I run out of wiring space to run all my other shit on the driver's side still. So I might end up having to put these under the car. I did order some of these and these in case I have to run them under the car. And I'll probably end up just run them either along the tunnel, which I think might be frowned upon, or I'll run them along the fuel lines, which also might be frowned upon. But I will most likely try to use screw holes that are bolt holes that I already have in place, if possible. So I don't have to drill more holes. Actually, I had plenty of wire left over. You see my spools down there, and then this is the 4 gauge. So I'll have plenty for the starter and alternator and so on. Probably use the 4 gauge for the alternator, and I'll use the 2 gauge for the starter just for the shit of it. This will be to ground out the engine, and I'll also give it a chassis ground up front somewhere, and I'll also probably chassis ground back by the battery. My radiator I ordered, the first one came in the other day. It was a China Bay one, and the dumbasses that made it spray painted it silver, which I guess if it's depending on the spray paint they used, if it's actually meant for radiators, it may not affect cooling too bad. But I needed to have the barbs cut off and have AN fittings welded on, so spray paint didn't work for me. Along with, it was quite noticeable, they not only did they spray paint it, but they put bubble wrap around it right after they sprayed it, so it had a nice cool bubble wrap texture to it. So anyways, I ordered another radiator from some other company on eBay that seems to be right there on par with Champion, and the quality of the radiator looks like, the welds look very nice, the way the build is looks good, and it comes with a billet radiator cap and a billet drain spigot bung, whatever the hell that little valve is at the bottom, but it's like a billet brass one. So that'll be in Wednesday, I think, so I'll be able to take that to my weld guy that did my tank. I have to cut this front here to fit it because it's 24-inch. I'm waiting on it to come in before I start cutting to make sure I don't overcut or undercut and have to redo it again. I think that's all I've accomplished. The AC will hopefully be mounted either probably tomorrow, because I'm probably about to call it quits today. I'm starving. But yeah, that's it for now. Oh, something I did want to ask, if anybody's still watching the video. I think I've asked this before, but I was curious. I'm wondering if my extension is jacked up, because this is not a illusion. There is a huge gap there compared to this one, which is not so bad. Now notice it seems to hump out right here. There's gap, it's like a rounded edge here. Gap here and tight at the hump. Same thing on this side. Well, fairly. It's actually fairly tight along until it gets to the end and it starts to round out. So I'm wondering if that is a screwed up quarter panel, because these quarters were replaced. I'm wondering if the quarter panel was just kind of shittily done, or if somebody in the past might have taken a grinder flapper wheel and like rounded off this edge. But my main question is, how do I remedy this? Like, do you just leave this like this? I mean, my original plan was going to be to make these permanently attached, which got scrapped when I realized I had to access the back side of this to put this little trim piece on, because I don't like the way it looks without the trim piece. So originally I was just going to fiberglass this in and body fill over it and call it done. But since I can't do that, what's the solution here? I wouldn't think putting a big ass chunk of body filler there is the fix. And I'd really rather not go back to cutting and welding on this to try to remedy something with some pieces of scrap metal, or have some sheet metal in there to make that filled up. So if anybody has any idea on how to fix this or what I should do with this, let me know, because I don't know. And in case, I don't remember if I made a video or not before, but my fuel lines have a leak somewhere. I tested these two back here. They're good. I got me a bucket of water. The next ones to pull are going to be the ones that hump over the rear end, that are kind of a pain in the ass to get to. So I'll pull those and pressure test those. And I'm really hoping it's not the flares on my hard lines that I made, because those are fun. Well, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll try to get a little bit more done for the next video. Later, guys.